Tonight, citywide slowdown.
Ultimately, what will happen is it will come down to a vote.
The debate over a new default speed limit for the city of Winnipeg shifts into high gear. Also tonight,
will the Premier call that public inquiry today?
What's on the agenda and which laws are being put forward as MLAs return for the spring sitting at the Manitoba Legislature. Plus, charting a path forward.
I think it's very important addressing the needs of the people.
What's in store for the city of Steinbach as it rolls out its new safety and well-being strategy?
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Winnipeggers are weighing in on a plan to slow down traffic on residential streets. The city is considering changing the default speed limit, which has led to some lively debate at City Hall. CTV's Danton Unger was there and joins us now live with the details. So, Danton, what change is the city looking to make?
Well, Marilee, the city's public service is recommending a drop to 40 kilometers an hour on residential streets. Now, in order to do that, the city needs the province on board first. But for some Winnipeggers, it's a step in the right direction.
For years, Winnipeg parent Ian Walker has been pushing for the city to lower residential speed limits.
I feel worried every time my kids go out the door to walk or bike to school.
Now his calls may be one step closer to reality. Winnipeg's public service is recommending the city ask the province to amend its Highway Traffic Act. This would allow Winnipeg to drop its default speed limit on residential streets.
Ultimately, what will happen is it will come down to a vote at council. 40 remain the same or 30.
The public service recommends a drop to 40 clicks, down from 50, noting this could be implemented quickly, requiring fewer signs while still keeping a distinction from school zone areas. It pointed to a recent study out of Edmonton that found a drop to 40 led to a 25% reduction in overall collisions. On Wednesday at the Public Works Committee meeting, dozens of residents of all ages weighed in.
Cars were zooming by us so fast. It's really scary when cars do that.
Some opposed the idea.
If you drive 40, you're getting passed and saluted frequently. I've tried it. It's going to create road rage and unsafe issues.
While others felt the city should go further.
This process should be expedited by presenting a city bylaw to decrease all residential streets to 30 kilometers an hour immediately.
Public Works Chair Councillor Janice Lukes says she supports a drop to 40 kilometers per hour.
It takes 18 seconds more to go 40 versus 50. This is only in residential neighborhoods, not the collectors, not the primary, not the priority ones, just the residentials.
A city report notes even with the province's approval, it could take a year to implement this. But Walker is hopeful it will happen eventually.
I suspect that a couple of years from now, people are going to be wondering why it took us so long to do it.
Now, Public Works has yet to vote on this. That meeting is actually still ongoing right now. The committee just wrapped up delegations on this and other items on the agenda around 4:30 this afternoon.
So, Dan, this all hinges then on the province's approval to amend the Highway Traffic Act. Has it given any indication that it will consider this?
Well, we asked Manitoba Transportation and Infrastructure Minister Lisa Naylor about this today. She says the province is open to discussions and will consider the evidence, public safety impacts, and stakeholder input before making any decisions. Now, even if the province gives Winnipeg the green light to make the change, a decreased speed limit would still need to go through council for a final vote.
All right, thanks for this, Stanton. The NDP government has a mountain of legislation on tap as the spring session gets underway. Significant bills include plans to end mandatory overtime for nurses and a ban on street weapons in parks. And there are also promises to help with the cost of living in the upcoming budget. CTV's Jeff Keel joins us now live with those details. Jeff, what was the focus as MLAs returned to the chamber today?
Healthcare, the PCs grilled the Premier over recent ER deaths, calling again for a public inquiry. Healthcare, crime, and the cost of food are on the province's agenda for the spring session.
When our budget comes forward, we're going to have some really strong measures on affordability.
There are nearly 36 proposed laws that could be put forward by the NDP government. On crime, proposed legislation to restrict long-bladed weapons and another bill to ban street weapons in parks and on buses. On health, laws to stop the requirement for sick notes end mandatory OT for nurses, and establish a nurse-to-patient ratio.
If you know that when you go to work, you are working with a workload that is manageable and that your patients are getting great care, that you're going to be able to leave at the end of your shift and not be mandated, that's a big, big recruitment and retention issue.
And healthcare dominated the first question period back. PC leader Abi Khan reiterated his call for a public inquiry into the health system following a number of emergency room-related deaths.
I'm asking the question that the families have asked me to ask on their behalf. Will the Premier call a public inquiry into the deaths of their loved ones while they waited for healthcare treatment?
We're committed to listening to the desires that they have for answers, to working through the processes before them, to provide those answers, and perhaps most importantly, to take action.
Later this month, the NDP government will unveil the 2026 budget with a pledge to cut food prices. Premier Wab Kinew says they will go after what's known as predatory pricing.
A ride-sharing company would charge you more for a ride if your phone has less battery charge on it. And a food company engaged in predatory pricing when you're ordering groceries would charge you more if they think you can afford to pay for it.
Now, last month, the province did announce it was starting a study on lowering grocery prices.
Jeff, was any legislation introduced today?
Yes, Justice Minister Matt Wiebe reintroduced a government bill that would require the Court of Appeal to render an opinion on if the province wanted to use the notwithstanding clause, which can override specific rights. And PC MLA Ron Schuler reintroduced a private member's bill to end that practice of switching the clocks back and forth, which we will have to do this weekend. But the Premier has already said this week he's not interested in that at this time, as he has other priorities.
All right, thanks for this, Jeff. The NDP government's long-promised extended detox center in Point Douglas is now holding people high on meth.
This is a commitment that we made to you to make our community safer, that if somebody is causing issues in the emergency room or on a street corner because of meth psychosis, they can be held for up to 3 days.
The 72-hour detention center opened last December, but until this point, it primarily served people under the influence of alcohol. Now those in meth psychosis or high on other long-lasting drugs can be detained for up to 72 hours. Premier Wab Kinew acknowledged it took longer than anticipated to get the facility up to speed, but says it was important staff received the appropriate training.
Just making sure that the equipment, the facility, the expertise, the training for the people who are going to be in this protective care center, that is all up to par to deal with somebody who's under meth psychosis, which could be a very, very challenging situation. Somebody might try all sorts of things to harm themselves, to harm others. The staff need to know how to respond.
The center has 20 sparse concrete rooms with toilets, sinks, and video surveillance. Kinew says the goal is to get people long-term drug treatment following the 72-hour detention. A 40-year-old man is dead, and tonight police are appealing for information about a shooting in the North End. Officers were sent to the 600 block of Selkirk Avenue around 3 yesterday afternoon for a gun call. Police tape could be seen surrounding a nondescript two-story apartment building near the corner of Selkirk and Mackenzie Street, with several police cruisers parked outside. There, officers found the victim, who was brought to hospital in critical condition but later died. Police have identified him as Kinsley Murray Bruce. He was a member of Poplar River First Nation but had been living in Winnipeg. A semi from a Manitoba-based business was involved in a fiery crash in Saskatoon yesterday.
I've seen truck accidents before, but this was huge, man. Yeah, I can still see the diesel on the roads and stuff, and yeah, it's crazy, man.
This was the scene on the busy Circle Drive in Saskatoon yesterday morning. A witness tells CTV News he saw a police officer and a bystander pull the driver from the vehicle just minutes before that cab became engulfed in flames. Police later said they believe the driver suffered a medical event and crashed into a light pole. The truck had Penner International decals on the side, which is a freight service based in Steinbach. Winnipeg Transit users will no longer need to wonder where their bus is. The city says passengers are now able to track buses in near real time using a smartphone. The Winnipeg Transit app and website, as well as Navigo, allows riders to see buses on a map. Their location is updated based on GPS. Clicking on the bus will provide even more information, including how recently its location was updated. If there hasn't been a recent GPS report from the bus, the city says its location won't be visible in the app. The update comes after Winnipeg Transit's GPS system experienced widespread issues last summer and fall. However, the city says it's now performing with the same accuracy as it did before. 60 years ago today, a blizzard blew into the province, burying Winnipeg and southern Manitoba. The snowstorm on March 4th, 1966 was one of the worst to hit Manitoba, lasting 20 hours and dropping 35.6 centimeters of snow. The blizzard brought with it 113 kilometer-an-hour winds. The Winnipeg airport reported having zero visibility for 14 hours. The storm shut down the city, leaving behind massive snowdrifts and 12 feet of snow in some areas. Bus service was canceled and people were told to stay home. But some of those who did venture out turned to using snowmobiles to navigate the streets. Former CKY DJ Chuck McCoy was on air when the snow started falling.
In those days, they didn't have the snow removal facilities and they didn't have accurate weather forecasting like they do today.
McCoy says one of the more unusual stories involving the blizzard was a gold bar heist at the Winnipeg airport. The flying bandit, Ken Leishman, and 4 accomplices stole an Air Canada truck with nearly $400,000 in gold on March 1st, 1966. Now, their intention was to leave Winnipeg in the days following, but that didn't happen thanks to the blizzard stopping traffic in its tracks. Soon after, police caught up to them. Who knew, Colleen?
Oopsies.
Yeah. Foiled by the blizzard.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm glad that was 60 years ago and not tonight.
No, but I'll tell you what, if there is one weather event that folks talk to me about the most when we're out and about chatting, it is that blizzard from March 4th, 1966. So yes, glad we still have those pictures. Nothing of the kind is in store for Winnipeg or southern Manitoba, but we could see precipitation, just nothing like that. But we could see different forms of precipitation. I will show you what I'm talking about coming up. But for now, the CTV Live Eye, that's brought to you by Bath Fitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution in Winnipeg. Right now it's cloudy. It's windy, winds out of the northeast at 30 kilometers an hour. The air temperature is -12, but when you factor in those winds, the wind chill feels like a -22. The pressure is rising and the humidity right now merrily is 79%.
Thanks, Colleen. One person was taken to hospital in unstable condition following a house fire in the Chalmers neighborhood in northeast Winnipeg. That blaze broke out at a home in the 500 block of Larson Avenue around 8:30 last night. Crews were met with heavy smoke and flames when they arrived, but managed to get the fire under control within about a half an hour. One person was assessed by paramedics and later brought to hospital. The cause of the fire is under investigation. A new safety report from the city of Steinbach is putting affordable housing and addiction in focus. The southeast Manitoba city has a burgeoning population and with that, growing issues. CTV's Joseph Bernacki has more on concerns from residents and some proposed solutions.
Steinbach resident Lisa Fast loves living in the community she grew up in. She works at Agape House, a shelter for people experiencing intimate partner violence. She helped write the community safety and well-being plan along with many other stakeholders.
It's a framework for local agencies, organizations to come together and pretty much sit at one table and just say, like, what can we do better for our community?
Fast says consultations were held for months identifying the key concerns of Steinbach residents and leaders. One of those concerns, the need for more resources to address substance use and mental health issues.
Especially when we're talking about mental health and addictions. There's definitely a stigma around those, reaching out for the supports like that.
Charlene Craker says she hears this concern often while working at Steinbach Community Outreach. Craker also contributed to the report, and another concern is the scarcity of affordable housing in Steinbach.
Being the only agency that is working right now in all of southeastern Manitoba with the unhoused community, I think it's important that we did have a voice in this.
Craker's organization is currently developing a 3-story apartment building to address the need. Upon completion, it will be the second build to help vulnerable populations find an affordable home. Steinbach Mayor Earl Funk says a report like this is critical for building the growing city.
In a community like ours, where people are looking to help their neighbor. I think these are going to be the answers that we need for affordable housing, to get people off the street and into housing, and then get that wraparound service around them.
The report also found more doctors are needed to increase capacity and reduce wait times. Funk says a new walk-in clinic will open in the coming months, bringing in 4 new doctors. Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Steinbach.
The operator of the Port of Churchill has signed an agreement with one of the world's largest cargo shipping facilities. CTV's Alex Carpa has more on what it could mean economically for Canada moving forward.
This is the Port of Churchill. It's situated on the shores of Hudson Bay in northern Manitoba and is the only deepwater seaport in northern Canada. Interest in revitalizing the port has grown in recent years as Canada seeks to diversify its global trade. Leading this effort is the port's operator Arctic Gateway Group, which has secured a major trade agreement with a prominent European port.
This is a great partnership and a great relationship.
The agreement with Belgium's Port of Antwerp will focus on developing transport of materials, including critical minerals and energy products, between Canada and the EU.
We think there's a huge opportunity for us to establish more trade between Western Canada and abroad through this agreement.
An economist says Europe is looking for reliable markets around the world, and Canada presents a good option for them.
So this is very much a win-win. A win for Canadians, particularly those in the north, getting access to better markets and more jobs, and a win for Europeans because now they can get access to Canadian goods without having to worry about geopolitical issues.
Last month, Ottawa says it's considering a major expansion of the Port of Churchill that would transform the northern Manitoba facility into a year-round multi-commodity trade hub. Some living in Churchill are encouraged about the renewed interest in the port, but hope these agreements and words turn into action.
We've seen lots of documents signed and MOUs and things like that, so those are all good, of course, but the next step obviously is putting action to these agreements.
Avery says revitalizing the port has a lot of benefits.
To reestablish ourselves as an energy superpower, to assert our sovereignty in the north, and also to advance Indigenous economic reconciliation.
With Avery going on to say the port may soon play a much bigger role in Canada's economic strategy. Alex Carpa, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A 47-year-old man is facing firearms charges after police say he was using a rural stop sign for target practice. RCMP responded to shots fired Sunday in a rural area west of Winnipeg after a nearby driver saw the barrel of a firearm hanging outside the window of a parked vehicle. When police arrived, they found the accused had been shooting at a sign. The man from the Arm of Cartier was arrested for firearm-related offenses. Well, if you haven't laced up your skates for a spin down the Nestawaya River Trail, you're out of luck. The Forks has officially now closed the river skating trail for the season. The Red River portion actually closed earlier this week, and tonight the Assiniboine section of the river trail is also off limits. Changing ice conditions from warmer temperatures and rising water levels mean it's no longer safe to keep the trail open. This year's river trail was open for 62 days and extended more than 6 kilometers in length. For those hoping to still get a skate in, well, the canopy rink and upper trails remain open at the Forks for now, but of course those are also weather permitting. Still to come tonight, Canadians stuck abroad as the conflict in the Middle East intensifies.
I think the biggest part is just like the unknown. We're not sure when the airspace will reopen.
How the federal government is working to get people out of the region with options limited. Plus, the province wants to hear from you as it looks to establish guardrails around the future use of AI. Those stories and more when we return. Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil closed flat. The loonie rose to 73.19 cents U.S. Gold futures added $11. The TSX was up 157 points. The Dow Jones closed 238 points higher, while the Nasdaq gained 290 points. The province is launching public consultations on the future of artificial intelligence. The government says it will focus on 2 issues: modernizing data privacy laws and establishing clear rules around the use of AI. It says this could potentially lead to age limits for use or laws which require companies to create an opt-in process for data usage. The consultations will involve youth educators, experts, municipalities, private and nonprofit organizations, as well as Indigenous governments. Tehran and other Iranian cities are still under bombardment from the U.S. and Israel tonight. Meantime, Iran and its Lebanese proxy are retaliating, targeting Israel, Arab nations with U.S. bases and diplomatic missions. And now NATO member Turkey. Several U.S. embassies are closed, with both Americans and Canadians being urged to find a way out of the region. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more from Istanbul.
Pulled from the waters along the southern coast of Turkey, this is the remains of a NATO interceptor missile that knocked an Iranian attack out of the sky. Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan saying his country is in close consultation with NATO allies while warning Iran a similar incident cannot occur again. In Iran, thunderous explosions echoed across the besieged nation as Israeli forces confirm they've begun a 10th wave of strikes, with U.S. forces hitting deeper into the country. In the 5 days since this war broke out, more than 1,000 people have been killed in Iran, according to a U.S.-based human rights organization. In Lebanon, smoldering debris sends smoke billowing into the sky in Beirut, where the IDF has vowed to uproot Iranian-backed Hezbollah after it launched strikes into Israel.
The numbers are increasing. We have more than 80,000 people, including 24,000 children, forcibly displaced in Lebanon. Many were still displaced since the previous escalation.
This video shared by the U.S. Department of Defense showing the moment a U.S. submarine sank an Iranian warship. The bodies of some 80 sailors reported dead at sea, located by rescuers along the southern coast of Sri Lanka. With 3 other NATO nations, Greece, Britain, and France, sending naval and Air Force personnel to Cyprus following Iranian drone attacks there, this expanding conflict has reached new shores. More than 100,000 Canadian citizens and permanent residents in the Middle East have registered with Global Affairs Canada. CTV News visited the Canadian consulate in Istanbul to try and ask questions on behalf of Canadians stuck in the midst of this conflict. Passport in hand, security inside this building refused to allow us to enter the consulate. Our request to interview Canada's ambassador to Turkey was also denied.
This is Adrian Gobriel with CTV National News.
One official speaking on background tells CTV News that a range of options are being looked at to help evacuate Canadians by land and air, while assisting those in Iran remains the most difficult, without an embassy inside that country. With war on the horizon, a sunset call to prayer preaches peace in a region and a world where tonight it's in very short supply.
The attempted missile strike here in Turkey makes this the 11th country targeted by Iran since this war began. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Istanbul.
Meantime, Senate Republicans voted down an effort to halt President Trump's war against Iran.
President Trump, after a sincere effort to bring this conflict to a peaceful conclusion, concluded that to continue to allow this regime to move forward would put America at unacceptable risk.
The region is in chaos. American consumers are paying the price. And for what? We still don't even know the reason for this war.
The legislation known as the War Powers Resolution failed on a vote nearly along party lines, with most Republicans arguing the president does not need congressional authorization for the strikes. War Secretary Pete Hegseth said today the war could extend 8 weeks, a longer time frame than was previously floated by the Trump administration. 6 U.S. military members were killed over the weekend in a drone strike in Kuwait. There are now more than 103,000 Canadians registered with Global Affairs Canada in the Middle East. But for those seeking to return to Canada, there is no easy path. And unlike many allies, Canada has not announced any plans to charter flights home. CTV's Annie Bergeron-Oliver explains.
For the last 6 weeks, Glenn Williams traveled the world. He thought his layover in Kuwait, a country he had never visited, would only be for a few days. Then the conflict began, and instead of flying home Sunday, he found himself stranded.
We do hear the sirens a lot during the day, but I mean, it's overall fairly calm. I can't say it's been crazy. I think the biggest part is just like the unknown. We're not sure when the airspace will reopen.
Williams is one of more than 103,000 Canadians currently registered in the region. Global Affairs Canada is not currently offering assisted departures, but the department says it is working on a range of options to support the potential departure of Canadians from several countries in the Middle East.
I am on the phone night and day with my counterparts in the region to ensure that we are providing the utmost support for Canadians in need.
While no evacuation flights are currently planned, Ottawa says it has asked Oman to use their airspace if necessary. Israel has arranged buses to a border crossing with Egypt where commercial planes are still flying. And in Lebanon, seats have been secured for Canadians on certain commercial flights.
Publicly, we may not say much, but behind the scenes, I think there is some conversation going on about potential exit avenues.
With experts saying it will likely be some time before flights resume.
It would be nice to get back home.
Canadians like Williams are trying to stay patient while they wait for news from the airlines or from the government.
Seems like the Canadian government, not in any bad way, but has said, like, you know, kind of fend for yourselves and hunker down.
But it's not just Canadian travelers in the Middle East who are impacted. It's Canadians around the world who had layovers in the region canceled indefinitely. Annie Bergeron-Oliver, CTV News, Ottawa.
Ontario Provincial Police seized millions of dollars worth of suspected fentanyl linked to an interprovincial drug trafficking network. Back in May, investigators identified individuals trafficking fentanyl between the Greater Toronto Area and Calgary. Then in February, officers executed a search warrant in Brampton and seized 18 kilograms of suspected fentanyl. Police say that's equal to 180,000 potential lethal doses with an estimated street value of more than $2.3 million. The accused range in age from 20 to 23. 3 are from Calgary, and the 4th is from Brampton. 1 was arrested in Winnipeg last month. A student pilot is set to stand trial in Quebec this month. He's accused of criminal negligence causing harm and dangerous operation of an aircraft. The now 33-year-old man is charged following the April 2023 crash of a Cessna airplane in Saint-Remy. A Transportation Safety Board investigation revealed the student was only authorized to fly alone, but had a passenger with him. Also, while in the air, he took a video call from people on the ground asking him to put on a show. The pilot ended up stalling his plane, severing a power line and crashing into a car parked in a driveway. A new survey finds many Canadians are dealing with what's being called fraud fatigue. The RBC survey found 83% of respondents say it's best to assume any unexpected call or message is a scam. Meanwhile, Equifax Canada says 70% of Canadians worry most about identity theft, followed by digital payment scams and investment or romance fraud. A majority of Canadians also want banks to bring in stronger security measures. Most people also want to see mandatory fraud prevention education in schools. A fireball lit up the night sky in southern BC overnight, triggering a house-rattling sonic boom. Many residents recorded a bright flash around 9 p.m. local time, followed by a loud boom. Early indications are it was a meteor slicing through the Earth's atmosphere. Witnesses say the sonic boom could be heard from the Fraser Valley all the way to Washington State.
Ticketmaster and Live Nation can't get away from how horrible that experience was for so many people.
Could we soon see a major shift in the live event experience? One group is hoping so, as it takes the biggest player in the game to court for a landmark trial. Those details up next.
And all throughout the long-range forecast for Winnipeg, a bit of a bounce around with these temperatures. By Friday, still cloudy, a chance of flurries. It's a low chance, but still there. -6 degrees, -13 overnight into the weekend. But look at those temperatures, well up above freezing, 3 and 4 degrees on Saturday and Sunday. Both days, there is a low chance of precipitation. Otherwise, we'll get some sunshine Saturday. Hopefully, we'll get some on Sunday, too. Mix of sun and cloud Monday, -1, -6 on Tuesday, with, again, a lower chance of a few flurries.
Round-robin play is wrapping up at Montana's Brier, and it's coming down to the wire to secure playoff spots.
Balaka's there, too. Can you just touch this up for 3? Can you just touch that? Attaboy. Oh, attaboy indeed. Wow. What a shot, Braden Calvert, too.
Those 3 points in the 8th end lifted Manitoba's Braden Calvert to a 9-4 win over Saskatchewan's Mike McEwen. Calvert improved to a 4-2 record and is now sitting 4th back in Pool B. Meanwhile, fellow Manitoban Matt Dunstone needed an extra end to decide his match against the team from Yukon. In the end, he eked out a 6-5 win. He's now 5-1 after suffering his first defeat of the tournament last night to Alberta's Kevin Cooey. Both Dunstone and Calvert have the evening off, but will return to the ice in the morning. Well, for years, music fans have complained concert ticket prices are too high. Now a trial has begun with an aim at bringing down those prices. Sophie Flay has the details.
Trial that could lead to the breakup of Live Nation is underway in New York. A jury set to decide whether the entertainment giant, which combined with Ticketmaster in 2016, is driving up prices in the music industry. In opening statements, a Justice Department lawyer pointed to the pre-sale event for Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in 2022, when Ticketmaster's site was overwhelmed and crashed, saying, "This case is about power, the power of a monopolist to control competition. Today, the concert ticket industry is broken."
The debacle that was trying to get tickets for the Eras Tour is at the heart of this case, because Ticketmaster and Live Nation can't get away from how horrible that experience was for so many people.
The government claims Live Nation uses strong-arm tactics to control the industry, such as demanding artists use its promotion services in order to perform at its venues, and pressuring major venues into signing deals. Live Nation's attorney disputes those claims, saying the government is cherry-picking examples, saying the marketplace is more competitive than ever, and blaming not the company, but online bots for the Taylor Swift ticket sale debacle. An executive who oversees Taylor Swift's tours is among those set to testify at the trial.
Leading into the trial, Live Nation actually won a major argument, having the judge agree to dismiss some of the claims that the company had monopolized concert promotions and bookings. But the company still has to defend itself against claims that it pressures venues to sign exclusive ticketing deals and makes artists use its concert promotion services.
The trial is expected to last 6 weeks. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the potential for all manner of precipitation, well, at least a couple of different forms tonight in various parts of the province. There is the potential for either a little bit of light snow or freezing drizzle across the south, including here in Winnipeg, although the chance is a little bit low. We did have some intermittent snow that came through southern Manitoba in some areas this afternoon. Next door, northwestern Ontario, it's still winding its way through. So as of right now, it's not showing up so much on the radar, but light snow still reporting in Kenora as well as Dryden, but you can see really around Sioux Lookout there. So here it is. It's moving on out, but it's not just the snow, as you can see, where that purple turns to pink. That's more where we should be seeing some freezing drizzle there. Back on our side of the border here in Manitoba, cloudy. Further north, it's clearer. Now, northern Manitoba still under the influence of that Arctic high pressure. It's been bitterly cold, as you know, but Environment Canada did knock down those cold warnings earlier today. Having said that, some very cold overnight air temperatures ahead, which I'll show you in a moment. But we're getting ready for the next round of snow. I was talking about this last night, where generally we have high pressure out to the west, low pressure out over the eastern Arctic, and that's setting up basically rounds of intermittent snow coming on and on again, off again throughout the region. Well, it's going to come through again. This time tomorrow, courtesy of a low pressure system coming out of Montana on the northern flank. It's going to send snow through central and southern parts of the province, but areas a little further to the south, again, contending with the potential for freezing drizzle, as well as possibly a little bit of light snow, but really it's central Manitoba that could see a swath of 5 to 10 centimeters, and that does include places as far south as Swan River. Through the night we go with that snow continuing, and also another band of snow is going to bring lesser amounts across the north tomorrow and into tomorrow night. Then you can see down here in Winnipeg in the southeast, back into northwestern Ontario. Again, not just that potential for a little bit of light snow, but also for freezing drizzle or freezing rain, which could make for slippery conditions as we get beyond that. Minus 13 tonight, cloudy, outside chance of fog developing along with that low chance of light snow or freezing drizzle. Winds for the next couple of hours at their strongest tonight, 30 gusting to 50 out of the northeast. Then the winds ease up considerably. Still from the northeast tomorrow morning for the commute, minus 10. Again with that possibility of fog, not a certainty, but a possibility. Again, that low chance of snow with the risk of freezing drizzle. That continues all throughout the day with a high tomorrow of minus 3 degrees. It's going to get cloudy later tonight across the northeast, but this is what what I'm talking about. Air temperatures dropping into the -30s for Gillam and Churchill. Thompson not far behind. Now, Thompson, there's a good chance, not a certainty, but a good chance of snow coming through tomorrow afternoon. Cloudy tonight across the northwest. Snow starts tomorrow morning for Flin Flon in the Paw before it gets to Norway House in the afternoon. There's a good chance it will make its way as far north as Lynn Lake. Cloudy tonight across the southwest again with that chance of flurries of freezing drizzle. 5-10 centimeters for Swan River tomorrow. You might see snow in Dauphin, Nepo, and Brandon cloudy, but also with the possibility of drizzle, freezing drizzle, or some snow tomorrow. Winnipeg in the southeast cloudy tonight, down to -13 here in the city, and similar conditions with temperatures hovering just above and below freezing. And in northwestern Ontario, that snow ends tonight for Kenora and Dryden, cloudy around the region tomorrow, again with highs either just below or getting just above freezing. Look at this stunning photo. This is from Shayna. This was the moon last night over Anola. That's just east of Winnipeg. And up in the north, George sent this photo. This is along the winter road between Norway House and Oxford House. Send us your photos to winnipegweather@ctv.ca.
People who chronically skip breakfast or just don't feel hungry in the morning have likely been that way their whole lives.
But is it okay to miss breakfast each and every day? Coming up, a registered dietitian weighs in and offers tips to make sure your first meal of the day is a healthy one. One year into the trade war, and half of Canadian small businesses no longer view the U.S. as a reliable trading partner. That's the finding of a new study by the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. And Tyler Sloboshian with the CFIB joins me now to discuss. Tyler, good to speak with you.
You too, Marilyn.
1 year in, what sort of strain has this put on small businesses, and how widespread is it?
Yeah, so like you said, it's very concerning. Almost half of Manitoba small business owners now tell us that they no longer consider the U.S. as a reliable trading partner. That's a big shift from a year ago, especially within a province that relies so heavily on the cross-border trade. And it's really not just about uncertainty. 59% say that they've been directly or indirectly affected by U.S. tariffs as well. So it's creating a major barrier to their planning process. And as you know, small businesses need predictability to invest, hire, and grow. And we need to see that in order for the Manitoba economy to keep growing as well.
Is the recent U.S. Supreme Court decision that struck down many of those tariffs providing any relief or changing any of those sentiments?
Definitely. I think, as we strike down some of the tariff, barriers, it's great. Some of the programs, the Regional Tariff Response Initiative, unfortunately just isn't reaching the small businesses that do need help. Fewer than 1% of businesses have really applied for the program nationally, and most of them don't even know the program existed.
So given the reality that this trade war likely is not ending anytime soon, what are you calling on Ottawa to do to help small businesses?
Yeah, at the federal level, we're really calling for Ottawa to reduce the small business corporate tax rate from 9% to 6%. And provincially, we're hoping that there's some tax relief in this budget as well. I think we're encouraging the province to incentivize investment by reducing the RST on capital inputs going forward. But we're also looking for no new tax increases in this provincial budget as well.
Well, Tyler, I want to thank you for your insight into this latest study and your time tonight. It was great speaking with you.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you.
It's been called the most important meal of the day, but many people often skip breakfast due to busy lives or lack of hunger. So is the first meal of the day really essential for our health?
It comes down to personal preference and what works best for your body.
That's registered dietitian Julia Zampano, who says breakfast does come with benefits. For some, that includes better cognitive function, lower risk of diabetes, better blood sugar management, and appetite control. But those who skip breakfast may also find they have a clearer mind, more alertness, and better digestion. She also says the best thing to do is to listen to your body.
Those people who chronically skip breakfast or just don't feel hungry in the morning have likely been that way their whole lives. Those who wake up hungry and ready to eat, again, physiologically, that's what their body is telling them.
No matter which group you belong to, Zampano says your first food of the day should be made up of mostly protein and fiber. She says meals with high fat or high sugar can lead to a pretty significant crash 30 to 90 minutes later. Some healthy first meal ideas include Greek yogurt with berries, nuts, and ground flaxseed, cottage cheese with tomato and a slice of whole grain toast, avocado toast with an egg, or overnight oats. People using weight loss drugs might be putting their bones at risk. New research shows the use of GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic and Wegovy could increase your chances of developing osteoporosis by 30% and gout by 12%. Experts say this may be due to rapid weight loss, a decrease in the intake of nutrients, or other factors. The research was presented at the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons annual meeting. The FDA notes in semaglutide labels that the drug could increase bone fracture risks in older adults and women. Breast cancer survival rates continue to improve. A new report from The Lancet found from 1990 to 2023, death rates in high-income countries have fallen by nearly 30%, thanks to decades of investment in screening, early detection, and treatment. But in the world's lowest income countries, the trend is moving in the opposite direction. Deaths from breast cancer have nearly doubled over the same period. Breast cancer is the most diagnosed cancer among women globally, and the number of cases worldwide is estimated to reach more than 3.5 million by 2050.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Power resides where men believe it resides.
Get ready to return to Westeros like you've never seen it before. What we know about a possible Game of Thrones movie in the works next in Spotlight.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting the Irish Rovers.
Comedian Mike Myers is set to receive a special honor at this year's Canadian Screen Awards. Myers, who is from Scarborough, Ontario, will accept the Academy Icon Award. Recently, the 62-year-old has been outspoken in supporting Canada amid annexation threats by the Trump administration. He appeared in ads alongside Prime Minister Mark Carney and wore a Canada is not for sale shirt on Saturday Night Live. Nominees for this year's Screen Awards will be announced in 3 weeks, with the ceremony being held on May 31st. A Game of Thrones movie is reportedly on the way to the big screen. According to The Hollywood Reporter, Warner Brothers is developing the title with Beau Willimon, who wrote hit series Andor and House of Cards. Just like the spin-off shows House of the Dragon and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, it's expected the movie will be a prequel to Game of Thrones, which aired its final episode back in May 2019. A different story from the world of Westeros will debut on stage in the UK this summer. Well, it wasn't supposed to come out until tomorrow, but in a surprise, James Gunn's DC Studios released it early.
All right. I could have died. You want me to train you? I'm training you.
Lanterns is a very different type of superhero show. It stars Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan and Aaron Pierre as his trainee Jon Stewart. It's been described as a gritty, true detective-style show with powers. You can check it out on Crave TV here in Canada this August. Coming up tonight on your primetime lineup, The Masked Singer starts at 7. Fear Factor House of Fear is on at 8, and Shark Tank wraps things up at 9. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Well, the normal high now for this time of year is -4. We were a little off the mark today, -10 the high, 12.7 degrees on this day in 2000. That was the record for March 4th. So not just that blizzard remarkable for this day. -13, our overnight low tonight with the chance of light snow. It's a low chance, freezing drizzle, maybe even fog. Similar conditions Thursday, -3, -6 Friday, cloudy, and then up above freezing for the weekend.
Thanks, Colleen. The world is already fascinated by an abandoned monkey with a stuffed animal named Punch. You've likely heard of him. Well, now get ready to fall in love with a brand new baby monkey that's a lot closer to home. Check out this cutie. This new baby monkey was born at Assiniboine Park Zoo. The female Geldes monkey was born on December 18th. Now, the zoo says her mom, Evie, showed some strong maternal instincts, but couldn't produce the milk the baby needed to survive. Oh, that face. So zookeepers stepped in and hand-raised the little monkey, which meant staying overnight for more than a month to ensure she got regular feedings, and all that attention has really paid off. The zoo says the baby is doing well and is now starting to sample solid foods. She's also getting a lot of attention from other monkeys, especially her grandmother, who we're told often carries the baby around and keeps a watchful eye on her.
Mom's been great too, though. Even though Mom didn't have milk, she really was interested in the baby from day one, and so that I think has helped a lot. Like, you know, right away the baby wanted to go to the parent, to the mom and to the grandma, and both of them have taken turns holding. Both of them have taken turns allowing her to ride on them.
You can see the baby monkey for yourself at Toucan Ridge. You'll even get a chance to help give her a name. The zoo plans to hold a naming contest in the next couple of weeks. Listen, zoo staff, if you ever need help, assistance feeding baby animals, Colleen and I are available. Just call us.
Cute.
So cute.
We'll be there so fast.
Yeah. Everyone's going to be down there to see the baby. All right, that does it for us tonight. Have a good one. We'll see you back here tomorrow.